Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, brothers and sisters, to another installment of our study of our series, Selected Ahadeeth, a light study of selected Ahadeeth from Riyaadus Saaliheen. And we are currently commenting on the Hadith of Abi Malik al-Ash'ari, which deals with a number of different important acts of worship and virtuous deeds that the Prophet presented in a very beautiful hadith. And we reached the part in the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ, he said, وَالصَّلَاةُ نُور وَالصَّدَقَةُ بُرْهَانٌ وَالصَّبْرُ ضِيَاءٌ. He said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what means prayer is light, charity is a clear proof of true faith, and patience is an illumination. The words used in Arabic, nur, burhan, and diya, to describe prayer, charity, and patience, respectively, are all in some way related to light. The choice of each word reflects specific qualities possessed by each of these acts of worship. So it was not by accident that the Prophet called prayer light, and he called charity burhan, and he called sabru diya. It's not by accident, but each word was chosen specifically because it reflects specific qualities in the acts of worship described. So he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he referred to prayer simply as nur, light, a general and absolute term, because prayer is light in every possible way, in every way imaginable. Prayer is light in one's heart, light in one's face, light in this world, light in the grave, light in the hereafter, and light on the bridge over hell that every believer must cross. So prayer is light in every sense and in every circumstance, and therefore it is fitting for it to be called nur in a general sense. Charity is referred to as burhan, which means a ray of light, a glow, or radiance. It itself is not the light, but it points to and indicates the presence of a light source. The word burhan is thus often used in Arabic figuratively to refer to clear proofs and indications of religious truths. The use of this word to describe charity is fitting, because giving of one's wealth or property in the cause of Allah is a clear indication that faith exists in the heart. One cannot give for Allah, cannot give for the sake of Allah, unless he truly believes in Allah and believes in Allah's promise. Then the Prophet said, وَالصَّبْرُ ضِيَاءٌ. Patience is an illumination. This is the shahid, or the purpose for which Al-Hafidh an-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala cited this hadith in the chapter of patience and perseverance. The word diya refers to light accompanied by heat, similar to the light of the sun, and opposite to that of the moon, which gives light but provides no warmth whatsoever. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, هُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ الشَّمْسَ ضِيَاءً وَالْقَمَرَ نُورًا. He it is who has made the sun a source of light and heat, and has made the moon a light without heat. The light of the sun, as we know, has many benefits. It kills bacteria, provides visibility, grows plants, and produces essential vitamin D. But its heat makes us uncomfortable and is sometimes nearly unbearable. This description, diya, suits patience very well, because although it is extremely beneficial, like the sun, patience Among its many benefits, as we mentioned in the outset when we opened the chapter, we mentioned that patience, among its benefits, is that the one who is patient receives a reward from Allah which has no limits. There is no limit to the reward a person will receive for being patient. As Allah says, إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّ الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرَهُمْ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. Indeed, the patient will be given their reward without limits. So patience is extremely beneficial. But it is also something which is very difficult upon individuals, and it requires a great deal of effort, striving, and restraint. Patience, therefore, like the sun, is extremely beneficial, but its benefit cannot be obtained unless a person is willing to bear the discomfort that accompanies it. Just like benefiting from the sun entails bearing its, at times, scorching heat. In this way, the Prophet is alerting his followers, telling you and I that there is a huge difference between alleging patience, claiming that you are patient to the level that meets the Islamic standard. There's a difference between claiming that and actually achieving it. To the point, just to illustrate this, that being patient is something which is easy to claim but not something always easy to do. When you contemplate the series of ayat where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that Ibrahim was instructed in a dream by Allah to sacrifice his son Ismail. When he informed Ismail and he told him, what do you think about this? Are you ready to do this? Are you going to accept this? Ismail, he said, Satajiduni insha'Allah min as-sabirin. He said, you will find me by the will of Allah, if Allah wills, from the patient. Even Ismail, who was a prophet, he understood, I can't be patient unless Allah wills. It's easy to say I'm going to be patient, but actually doing it, I need the tawfiq, the assistance of Allah, because being patient is not something which is easy. The hadith goes on, and the Prophet, he says, وَالْقُرْآنُ حُجَّةٌ لَكَ أَوْ عَلَيْكَ. And the Quran is a plea in your favor or an indictment against you. It means, brothers and sisters, as mentioned in some Ahadeeth and Athar, that the Quran will literally come on the day of judgment like a defense attorney, arguing on behalf of certain people, pleading for them to be pardoned and that all charges against them be dropped. For others, the Quran will come like a prosecuting attorney, charging them with crimes and demanding that they be punished for those crimes. Who will the Quran be a hujjah for? Who will the Quran be a hujjah against? The Quran will be a hujjah. It will plead on behalf of those who read it, memorized it, contemplated it, and who applied it in their lives, obeying its commands and avoiding its prohibitions. But the Quran will plead against those who neither read, memorized, contemplated, or applied it in their lives. Ibn Mas'ud, radiyallahu anhu, he said, Al-Qur'anu shafi'un mushaffa' wa hamilun musaddaq. فَمَنْ جَعَلَهُ أَمَامَهُ قَادَهُ إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ وَمَنْ جَعَلَهُ خَلْفَ ظَهْرِهِ قَادَهُ إِلَى النَّارِ. Ibn Mas'ud, he used to say, the Quran is an intercessor whose intercession will be granted, and a messenger who must be believed. So whoever places it before him, places it in front of him, it will lead him to paradise. While he who casts it behind his back, it will lead him to hell. وقال بعض السلف, and some of the early Muslims, they used to say, ما جالس أحد القرآن فقام عنه سالما بل إما أن يربح أو أن يخسر. أو أن يخسر. He said, no person has an encounter with the Quran and then leaves that encounter unaffected. He either benefits from the encounter or suffers from it. And then they would recite the verse in which Allah says, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَلَا يَزِيدُ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا خَسَارًا. And we reveal from the Quran that which is a healing and mercy for the believers, but it does not increase the wrongdoers except in ruin. Lessons. What can we learn, brothers and sisters, from what we heard today? Number one, we learn the virtue and spiritual significance of prayer. It will provide us with light where we need it the most, in the place where we need it the most, in our hearts. Prayer will lighten these hearts, illuminate these hearts. And it will also provide us with light when we need it the most, at the time when we need it the most, in the darkness of the grave and along the bridge over hell, which is as thin as a hair, as sharp as a sword, and which has on it hooks which will actually catapult some people into the hellfire. Think about it. There's no light on the day of resurrection except the light of Iman. And what is the best light of Iman that a person can have on that day? The light of prayer. As-salatu nur. Prayer is light. And when you cross that bridge, you don't want to cross that bridge which is as thin as a hair and as sharp as a sword and has hooks which catapult people into hellfire and you can't see. You want to have a light that makes it clear where you should step and when you should step and how you should step. And so this is the significance, or one of the many virtues of prayer. Number two from the lessons, one of the greatest indicators of true faith is open-handedness, especially open-handedness in secrecy. When a person gives his wealth for the sake of Allah and keeps the knowledge of his giving secret between him and Allah, that can be nothing more than an indication of true faith in Allah, because he is expecting no return except from Allah. And how can a person expect a return from only Allah unless he truly believes in Allah and in his promise? Number three from the lessons, patience is hard. It is easy to claim, but hard to truly achieve. Many of us, brothers and sisters, will fail in some circumstances at meeting the Islamic standard of patience. We will make the attempt and we will fail miserably. Sometimes we'll just fail, but we will not be able to meet. We'll take a step back, reflect on the circumstances and how we responded, and realize that we weren't patient to the Islamic standard. We shouldn't get discouraged. That's part of the meaning of the Prophet saying, "Wasabru diya." Patience is an illumination. It is light with heat. It is not easy to handle. It is not easy to achieve. So don't get discouraged, neither by your failure, nor by the blame of the blamers who blame you for failing, when they themselves have likely also experienced similar failures of achieving patience. If at first you don't succeed at being patient, try again, because the Prophet is telling you in a roundabout way, as-sabru diya. Patience is hard, it's not going to come easy, and if you fail, it's not going to be something surprising, and it's not an indication that you are unfit. It's just an indication that sabr is difficult, and it takes a lot of effort, and so you have to just keep trying at it. Last but not least from the lessons, lesson number 4, if we want to be successful brothers and sisters in the hereafter, we have to establish a strong relationship with the Book of Allah. The Quran will defend us if we do. It will come actually like a defense attorney and defend us if we establish in this world a strong relationship with it. But it will condemn us if we don't. And with that, brothers and sisters, we bring our commentary, or today's commentary, to a close. We'll close, inshallah wa ta'ala, discussion of the hadith and our commentary upon it tomorrow. Until then, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those who listen to the talk and follow the best of it. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those who He teaches beneficial knowledge, and who He truly benefits from the knowledge that He teaches us by making us from those who put it into practice. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.